Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. I have not yet seen a person more knowledgeable about what is happening along the coastline of India than Sri Bala Gouthaman. I'm surprised that I didn't know him earlier, but 2 weeks ago we met and I have been just blown away with his meticulous, detailed information about the machinations that are happening not only in India but also in neighboring countries such as Maldives, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and China and Bangladesh. It's just mind-boggling. I request all the viewers who are watching this to please like this video and please watch till the end. There's a wealth of information that we are going to share. It kind of gives you an idea of the kind of challenges that the Modi government is faced with. So without further ado, let's welcome the guest of the evening, Sri Bala Gouthaman of Vedic Research Center. Gouthaman ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaste, Namaste, Shriji, Namaste.
So Gouthaman ji, what I have done is I have taken one of your PowerPoints, sir, and I'm going to start, talking to that, and then from that, we're going to look at a few slides, and then each slide you read the original work, so you can talk to it. I don't know how many times this has been shared amongst a world audience, but I think it is very, very significant because many of us are in this ignorance is bliss, that sort of a mindset, and they need to understand the reality on the ground. So with your permission, sir, I'm going to start the slideshow now, and let's go to slide number 2, vulnerability of Tamil Nadu coast. Don't go by the headline. This is not just Tamil Nadu, but all the different areas in and around Tamil Nadu. Sir, take it away, sir. This is your slide. I yield the floor to you.
Tamil Nadu share a coastline of close to 1060 kilometers from Kanyakumari to Tiruvallur. And it's the unique feature about Tamil Nadu's coast is the entire the southern part of Tamil Nadu, that is starting from the districts of Kanyakumari, Tirunelveli and Tuticorin. You can't find even a single Hindu fisherman. And this is something that we need to understand. These conversions have happened long back. 500 years back, it was done by St. Francis Xavier. I'm using the word saint because that is the word, that is how he is popularly known. But he is unbecoming for that particular sainthood. And that is my feeling if you go through the history of Xavier. And from there on to north, that is after Tuticorin, that is the third district from the southern tip. It is Hindu fishermen. Now previously they were under the control of the LTT, partially under the control of the churches, and nowadays they are mostly under control of the jihadis. And this is what is all about the coast of Tamil Nadu. Even though from after Tuticorin, after the first 3 districts from the south, most of the district the Hindus are overwhelmingly Hindus. But the entire fisheries business or other trades related to sea or other business houses which are dominating the coastline, they are now under the hands of the jihadis. And this is the peculiarity of Tamil Nadu that we need to know. And it has all the border areas now are not in the control of Hindus. It has gone out of the control of the Hindus. If it has gone out of the control of the Hindus, that means it has gone out of the control of the government. And this is what we need to understand.
Gouthaman ji, I'm just going to go back and forth in some slides because I was trying to look for the text that substantiates what you just said. Now, this we have covered, that the coastline, and also I think you have touched a little bit of, let's see. No, I think let's go back to this one. So this is what we have touched upon. Viewers, we have a lot of information to share with you. Just stay with us while we figure out the sequence of time. So this is the opening statement that Gouthaman ji has made. Now, as you go deeper and deeper into this presentation, you will start appreciating some of the dangers that are just lurking under the surface. Sir, this is like a big picture. Take it away, sir.
Yeah. Now, Tamil Nadu is concerned, our immediate neighbors are Maldives and Sri Lanka. And these two, I mean, that you can go to the next slide. I think it will be better.
Yeah. You can tell me, sir, whenever you want me to go to
Yeah,
the next
that
slide,
you
I
can
will.
flip it
Yeah.
up. You can flip it up. And now you can see Tamil Nadu shares a coastline with Sri Lanka. And you have to understand this Gulf of Mannar. It is a territorial water shared between Sri Lanka and Tamil Nadu. It is not an international sea trade. And this is something that we need. It's not an international sea water. So it is a shared water between territorial water between Sri Lanka and India. That is one thing that we need to keep in mind before going to the next slide. Now you can go.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that we need to understand. This is where the real problem comes in. And now this is the religious demography of Sri Lanka. 12.6% is Hindus. This is as per government record. But after the migration of the Hindu Tamils and the conversion happening in the northern part of Sri Lanka, Hindus may be right about 10 or less than that. And the Christian population, that should be around 10 to 15% because conversion is there even among the Sinhalese fishermen too. So this is not the actual situation which is there in the ground. And while you're noting this diagram, the green part in Sri Lanka, which is on the upper side, which that is the northern part of Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So the Talai Manar, I think whether there is a slide on the next one, I have no idea about.
Let's take a look at it. Yeah.
Is it there?
You have, sir. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because the thing is, I made this presentation 5-6 years back. Okay. So these things have changed now. By 2012, the Muslim population in Talai Manar was 16.24%. In this slide, I have put it is an astronomical jump. But now I am searching for a proper English word because now it is 42% as of today. So from 16.24%, it has jumped to 42% within 10 years. And this is something, I don't know what word exactly, it's a tsunami of Muslim invasion that has taken place in Talai Manar. And that is the nearest part as far as we are concerned with the Sri Lanka. As it is a territorial water, previously the entire trade among this trade, why we can't call it trade, it is the smuggling activity, was controlled by LTT prior to 2009. From around about 2009 to 2018, Pakistan ISI made use of these ex-LTT elements to do because it takes around 20 to 30,000 rupees for you to get a seasoned person to do this. It's not a big money for any country where you have persons who are trained in this art. And the amount which you are going to shell out is 20 to 30,000, which is not big for any country to do this kind of activity. But unfortunately, I mean, the government has not worked on it properly after that. Now, what happened? After the demise of LTT, Muslim organizations, now Mannar being populated by Muslims, and the eastern part of Sri Lanka, which has now become a Muslim dominant area. Previously, we used to say that the difference between Hindu Tamilians and Muslim Tamilians is 2% in favor of Hindu Tamilians. But now it is not so. It is more or less it is equal. And some people say the fulcrum has tilted in favor of the Muslims. And this is what Eastern Sri Lanka is all about. And now I am, during my recent visits to Sri Lanka, now I am finding many madrasas coming in those areas, and they are named after generals or Muslims who fought in Syria. The generals, the name of the generals who died in the Syria war, the ISIS guys. And in Trincomalee, I find a school, we call it Tirugonamalai in Tamil, in Trinco is what they call it in English. I find an Erdogan school there in Trinco. So what happened in the last 8 to 10 years, because now Pakistan is not capable of funding those big things, Saudi Arabia has slowly withdrawn from this activity. So whatever infrastructure which was earlier set up by Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, now they are taken over by Turkey. So there is no dearth of funds or there is no dearth of anything. from the Islamic world. So something that we need to understand here, that in our Delhi circles, and whom we call people, I mean, they know geopolitics better than us. They used to say that, okay, Pakistan is a major threat for India. It is not Pakistan. Islam is the major threat. That is something that we need to understand. And the infrastructure which were established once by Pakistan, later funded by Saudi Arabia, are now taken over by Turkey. So the idea is, it is not a country-driven thing. It is basically an Islamic ideology-driven thing, and this is something that we need to understand. And this is what we are seeing in Sri Lanka, and this is what we are seeing in Tamil Nadu too nowadays.
Gautam ji, I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's a very important point you made. You said that these Islamic activities have now been outsourced. That's how I understand it, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong. From Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to Turkey. So that means now whatever the Wahhabi school, whatever that Salafi, all those radical Islamic teachings, are you saying that everything has moved lock, stock and barrel into Turkey?
Look, these infrastructures were created not based on a single ideology like Pakistan centered or anything centered. All these institutions were created based on Wahhabi, but more than Wahhabism, some other sects are also coming. So the thing is, the ideology which is now driving the Muslims is the word Islam, which I don't want to use. Because when you use the word Islam, that represents Ummah. In Tamil Nadu, we use the word Tulukan. In some other place, they use the word Muslim. In some other place, they use some other word. But now, this is something that we need to understand. Now, in the entire world, they are using only one word, Islam. Because this ideology is cross-cutting all geographical boundaries. This is cross-cutting all small ideologies, whatever may be. Now it is teaching one thing, that is, there is one word, that is Ummah, that is an Islamic word, and the rest are all heathens. And this is what they think. So the infrastructures are created based on this particular ideology. So the real threat is this ideology. And now tomorrow Turkey will be replaced by some other country. The reason is very simple. If any country, or any particular brand of Islam, if they wanted to control the entire Islamic world, or they want to rule the entire Islamic world, their first ring where they want to throw their hat is India, because this is the second populous Muslim country in the world. So these infrastructures are basically Islamic infrastructures. And it is this ideology which is driving these infrastructures. So now Turkey is investing on it, because now Turkey wanted to create a caliphate. So Turkey is throwing the ring. That's it. Previously, Saudi Arabia wanted to do, because of this oil issues, Saudi Arabia decided, okay, this is not going to be our good bit. So Saudi slowly they withdrew. So the other country has come in. A day after tomorrow, if Malaysia is going to try it out, they will do the same type of insurgency in India. And this is going to be common. Unless or otherwise, this brand of Islam is not being defeated anywhere. And you are going to face this problem again and again. Liquidation of Pakistan is not going to be the answer. The only answer lies in how you are going to neutralize this pan-Islamic identity. And this is the question before, and this is the challenge before us.
So let's take a look at the volatility that exists in Sri Lanka and the expansion plans like String of Pearls by China and notorious Pakistan. See, Hambantota now, China has a 99-year lease. And they say that, quote unquote, they are supposed to be only civilians there. But anyone who has seen that area has said every civilian walking about in the Hambantota port has a very military bearing, chest up, ramrod straight. So essentially they are fooling. It is just, it's the Chinese military that is sitting there and controlling it. Now, it has not stopped there. China has been creeping up. They have also been very active in Talai Manar. Gautamanji, let's talk a little bit about how China is, playing havoc in Sri Lanka.
Look, after this LTT is over, the Rajapaksa government started some big projects in Sri Lanka. So while these projects were on, most of the people who worked in those projects were hired from old LTT sources and local Muslims, and they are helped by the Pakistan embassy, which is situated in Kandy in Sri Lanka. Apart from that, nowadays what is happening is, and you are talking only about Hambantota, but nobody talks about Talaimannar or Kangesandurai or other areas. And there are instances where our people have spotted Chinese in those northern waters of Sri Lanka. And we have passed on this information to relevant authorities in India. And they tried to back some projects with some Tamil politicians in northern Sri Lanka. I heard that one MP, 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙬𝙤, who hails from northern Sri Lanka, wanted to do some project where Chinese are going to fund it. And I think that they are working towards that. So it is not only Hambantota, now they are spreading their tentacles even in northern part of Sri Lanka. And now Ambanis have taken over some project. Local opposition is now getting generated from the local Tamil community, which were backed by the local churches. That you need to understand. There is a Chinese hand behind this, and 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙬𝙤 is one person who is doing it from behind. So now the third party, which is an invisible party in most of the things, is the Christian church. So China is not only working with the Pakistan embassy there, and they are again working with the churches, which are very strong. And when I talk about this Mannar, 42% of Mannar is Muslim. Again, you need to understand another 43% of Mannar is Christian. So the Hindus in Mannar constitute around 16 to 17%, not more than that. So Chinese influence in Sri Lanka, even if the government is going to be if now Ranil's government is there, tomorrow if some other government is going to be there in the saddle, the NGOs which are working in the ground, mostly they are purchased by Chinese. So it is going to be like how China is operating in Tamil Nadu. For one good example about, they used the church to close down the Sterlite plant in Tuticorin. Now they are using the same missionary setup in Sri Lanka to close down Indian investments there. So China, whatever China is doing here in Tamil Nadu, they are doing the same thing there. So it is not that China is anchored only in Hambantota port. China has almost taken over all small businesses in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is now filled with the Chinese items, number one, in terms of business. And number two, go to any university in Sri Lanka. You can find Chinese. And they are slowly taking over the intelligentsia of Sri Lanka. And it is just becoming JNU. Every university in Sri Lanka is slowly becoming another JNU. And this is one thing that we need to understand. Previously, these things were under the control of the missionaries. Now from missionaries, now they are slowly switching over to the communist. So the influence of China inside Sri Lanka in every sphere of life, that is something that we need to know, is very huge. And China can play havoc in Sri Lankan politics at any point of time. Just imagine, there was a big agitation in Sri Lanka to remove Rajapaksa. And Rajapaksa was charged by the common Sri Lankan man that he has he has finished the Sri Lankan economy. That is the charge against Rajapaksa. And everyone knows it is Rajapaksa has initiated whatever Chinese has dictated to him. But you can't find even a single slogan against China in any of these things. And this is one thing that we need to understand. Some of the organizers of the protests, they are from Janata Vimukti Parimana. It's a left-based organization. And one of the guiding masters of the JVP is our Sitaram Yechuri. We all know that. And some of the breakaway factions of the JVP were spearheading those protests. So the public resentment against Rajapaksa, it never turned against China. And unfortunately, India helped Sri Lanka in all aspects, maybe during the COVID period or after or during the crisis. But it is the failure of our embassy to drive home the point. It is India that has saved Sri Lanka. This is what our embassy should have done there. And again, Government of India is spending money like water in northern Sri Lanka. But most of the money is spent through churches in northern Sri Lanka. And do you expect the church is going to say that it is the Indian money through which this development is going to take place here? It is not going to happen. So India has to relook on how they are spending their money. And this is what the Indian government has not done in Sri Lanka. And these things are now utilized by Sri Lanka. And utilized by China, sorry. And this is something that the government has to think of.
Gouthamanji, you said that the money is going through the church of, churches in Sri Lanka. Isn't that the same? Isn't that the same even in India also? I'm putting the next slide, sir, because you can talk to that too. Because essentially, when there is any rehabilitation work after, say, a tsunami or something else, in most of the coastal districts.
That I need to touch in the future slides. When the tsunami struck, the entire government aid went to the bishop houses in Kanyakumari district, Tirunelveli and Tuticorin, and all the aid, whichever sent by Tamil Nadu government, central government, or all other state governments, or from international aid agencies, they were spent through the churches, because every Christian fisherman is every single fisherman in our coast are Christians in these three districts. And this is what happened during the time of tsunami. So this is one thing that the government of India is doing. It is not only after that, after the 𝙒𝙂𝘂𝗀𝘀 cyclone struck, the entire aid was dispersed to the coastal areas through churches. So apparently what happens? No fisherman is representing the fishing community. Every fisherman community is represented by the local parish priest. So now the Christian churches having a monopoly, and they don't have the fishermen don't have any say in any of their own decisions, and this is what is happening there. They can't decide anything for them. It is the church which decides for fishermen. The same thing is now Government of India is slowly assisting that to happen in Mannar or in other places in Sri Lanka, and this is one thing the government has to understand. Now, in any meetings in collector's office or in secretariat here, the fishing community is always represented by a priest, and he will decide. He will decide where a fisherman requires a road. He will decide where you need to get a boat jetty. He will decide what should be the 𝙒𝙨 amount for a particular fisherman. And he will decide who is going to issue the 𝙒𝙨 amount to the fisherman. The amount has to go to the church, and from church it needs to be given. The money, our taxpayers' money, it's our money. No collector can do it, no tahsildar can do it, no revenue divisional officer can do it, only the bishop can do it. And this is the state of affairs. And the same thing is now there in Sri Lanka. So, even the government of India spends money, the control is not with the government of India. I recently heard that they have put in money for some construction activity, and that is a construction of a church is going to happen with Indian money. I don't know why the government is spending money to construct a church. And according to our constitution, no part of the government money should be spent for any religious denomination. This is what the constitution has said. Unconstitutionally, we are doing it in Sri Lanka. Thereby, we are helping China.
Gouthamanji, let's take a look at the economic aspects of what you just mentioned, that there are significant majorities of Christians and Muslims. Now, when did this control from the local administration get ceded to the bishops? Which year, sir?
500 years back when Savior came in.
I thought things are not this bad about 20 years ago.
No, it was that this bad. And we all have visited the coasts till Ramanathapuram. No one has visited the coast of Kanyakumari, Tirunelveli or Tuticorin. I am from that area. I am born and brought up in that area. In 1982, there were major clashes in Kanyakumari district. We call it as the famous Mandaikadu riots. And after those riots, a committee was constituted under Justice P. Venugopal. In that particular report, Venugopal has mentioned that the church is using this fisherman as henchmen. And this is the word precisely used by Venugopal in his report. This is in 1982 it happened. The report was tabled in the assembly in 1985. In 1986, the Tamil Nadu government has accepted the recommendation and passed a gazette order in 1986. And this is on record, sir. And from the 16th century, that is from 500 years back, when Savior came in, and he was given permission by the then Maharaja to convert the fishermen, to convert in his kingdom. The Vijayanagara kings, they got this message and they invaded the kingdom of Travancore to stop this conversion, because that is the time where the Vijayanagara they lost to the sultans there in the battle of Talikota. So they entered into an agreement with the Portuguese. So what happened is the Vijayanagara forces, they came all the way up to Vadaseri in Nagarkovil to stop this Christian conversion. Then the Maharaja, he gave an undertaking to the Vijayanagara that he will not allow further conversions and he will not allow any non-fishermen to be converted. And again, the peace was brokered by the Portuguese between the Maharaja and the Vijayanagara, and the Vijayanagara army returned. This happened in the mid-15th, the 16th century. From there onwards, the entire Christian community got converted. So now, this is a price catch for the Christian fishermen. Now, Vizhinjam Harbour, the government is not able to complete. It was sanctioned years back. Then the Kanyakumari Harbour project, 23,000 crore already allotted, and a special purpose vehicle was formed by the government of India. Nothing moved because church opposed it. So project number 2 stalled. Project number 3, highways from Kanyakumari to Trivandrum, stalled because Christian churches opposed it. Again, expansion of Kudangulam, not happened, churches opposing it. Number 5, Sterlite, now closed. Case is still pending in the Supreme Court. China has overtook us and copper prices in India has gone up. Many companies in Coimbatore and Tirupur are closed down. You can't even find a single project that has gone through in this Christian belt. All these projects, the government has already allotted crores and crores of rupees. If you calculate all this amount, and airport in Kanyakumari, again stalled. Sports center in Kanyakumari, stalled. Environment is the issue cited by these organizations. This is one thing that we need to remember. No major project which is going to come near the coast has taken shape in any of these areas, because if those projects come in, the financial situation in those areas will improve. So the fishermen will go out of the clutches of the priests. So the monopoly of the church in the coastal region will go away. So they will not allow this to happen. That is point number 1. Number 2, these fishermen, they are revenue spinners for this church. You go to these coastal areas, 1/10 of their earnings they have to give to the church. They call it Dasama Bhagam in our local church. The catch of fish is 50,000 crore per year. 10% of 50,000 crore is 5 crore per year.
5,000 crores, yeah.
5,000 crore per year. And this is the income that they are getting in this belt. So how the church will lose it? How the church will lose its monopoly? And then again you need to understand how These demonstrations in the name of environment and other things have taken shape. Now, if I make this particular allegation, then I need to prove why it is so. When this Kudangulam atomic power plant was started, the first opposition came from the church. At that time, all the leftist organizations are in support of this Kudangulam plant. Reason? The pact was signed between the communist Russia and India. So the church is against, the communists are in favor. Then again, Russia collapsed. Boris Yeltsin took charge. During the Boris Yeltsin era, they renewed. Boris Yeltsin was close to the church. During that period, the church is for Kudangulam and the communists are against Kudangulam. So the green agitation, it changed. The ideology changed the color of the green, and that is what happened. And then when Putin comes in, now Putin is against this church. So now the church is against Kudangulam. So which project has to come where? That is to be decided by the church. It cannot be decided by Government of India or any other community. And this is what is going on for years. And as you asked this particular question, it was not that 20 years back. Because 20 years back, Boris Yeltsin was there, so Kudangulam was allowed. Otherwise, they could not have allowed it. But again, fortunately, at that particular point of time, the businesses in Tuticorin and the surrounding areas were controlled by the Hindus. So we have an upper say in the local economy. But in the last 20-30 years, we lost it. And again, the political discourse in the country has vastly shifted towards minority. And the UPA rule of 2004 to 2014, that has given a great leverage for these minorities to, take control of everything, whatever comes in their way. And that is really, that as you rightly pointed out, that worked, that 2004 to 2014, that is a period the country has gone to doldrums.
Now let's take a look at East Coast Road Trail. Now this is not just limited to Tamil Nadu I'm taking. Sir, go ahead and let's take a look at what has happened along the other districts north of that. East Coast Road is a road that goes more or less along the coast, isn't it?
Yes. It starts from Chennai in Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu portion I am talking about, and it goes up to Kanyakumari. And from Thoothukudi, Tirunelveli and Kanyakumari are the three districts where it is a Christian majority. And I mean, from the not Christian majority, all fishermen Christian. That is how I have to put it, because since the road is on the coastal side. From there onwards, the Ramanathapuram district starts. From there up to Chennai, the entire stretch is taken over by the Muslims. For every 15 kilometers, you can find a mosque. And this particular area is facing Sri Lanka. And this is the one that we are talking earlier about, Mannar, which is now become 42% Muslim from 5% Muslim in the last 10-15 years. And now you can understand why Mannar is important. Because now the eastern part of India has become Muslim, the western part of Sri Lanka has become Muslim. And since the water, which was earlier controlled by the LGT through smuggling, arms trade and whatever, is now taken over by the Muslims. So the criticality of East Coast Road is to be weighed in terms of national security. And when you travel along the road, the Minars which are on the east side, that is on the sea side of the road, they are even taller than our, lighthouses set up by the government. And you can see lights, revolving lights in the minarets. And I went inside the sea. Yeah, this is where. I went inside the sea in a boat. We took all these photographs. I can see these lights. You can see those things are rounded there. You can see these signals far inside the sea. So, whomever is going to come inside the country, where the Coast Guard is, where the Navy is, when they have to come inside the Indian territory, when they have to hide inside a bush which is there in the sea, because this sea, it is not an open sea. I mean, when you go into this Park and the Park Strait and the Manar Straits, you have many, atolls. So there are many places for you to hide inside. So all these information can be transmitted from these minars, and this is what is happening, and this is precisely what they have done to ECR. And to take care of these fishermen, what they have done is the entire fishing business is now monopolized by the Muslims. And number two, it is an unethical practice our fishermen do. They use gelatin sticks to catch fish. I mean, it is a banned business. It should not be done. Previously, it was done by the local Hindu community in a localized way. Now, what happened? In the last 10-15 years, this entire gelatin stick business was taken over by the Muslims. So, the local fishermen, they think that they are getting gelatin sticks from other parts of the place through the sea. But with gelatin sticks, they are smuggling arms into Tamil Nadu. From Tamil Nadu, it is being sent to Sri Lanka. The Easter bombings in Sri Lanka that we all know, and we have a good Tamil Nadu link. And even in the Coimbatore bombing, we have a Sri Lankan link. And the borders have vanished because Islam has connected the bridge of terror between Sri Lanka and India. And this ECR, which they have converted in the last 20 years, is now used to launch these activities. And this is what has happened in ECR. It is not only in ECR that you need to understand. There are again, before going into the next thing that you need to understand, Pakistan ISI has conducted 3 major espionage activities, 3 varieties of espionage. Many activities they have done. One they have done through ex-LTTE access. LTTE persons were trained and they are sent into Tamil Nadu to espionage activity. That is one module they do. The second module is the Sri Lankan Tamil Muslims sent to Tamil Nadu to do those activities. Number 3, local Tamil people trained, and after that activity, Sri Lanka is used as the base to carry out information and other things. And these are the 3 modules already ISI has done, and I think that I have put it in this presentation. I don't want to elaborate on those things. So I think it was done, and I think even after this 3 modules.
So it's not just fishing, but there are other industries also that the Muslim community has a vice-like grip. Would you like to touch upon that?
All the businesses along the thing, grocery shop they have taken over. When you start from Ramanathapuram up to Chennai, in the entire coastal belt, you can't see even a Hindu service organization, barring some Hindu organization in Ramanadu town or in 1 or 2 localities. All other ambulance services are operated by these jihadi organizations. And when these ambulance services are on, no police is going to check you out. So these are the backup mechanisms that they have created. We conducted a study in 2013-2014. We call it a connectivity jihad in our terminology. We conducted a study on how communication is being properly done, because they have demonstrated it. I mean, they wanted to shift a patient from Ramanathapuram to Pondicherry Jipma. Generally it takes 4 hours or so for a drive in ECR. They transported the patient in an ambulance. They cleared the entire ECR by using WhatsApp communication, and they used the local police and the local Hindu community organization to assist to clear the road for the ambulance to pass. They did it within 2 to 2.5 hours. It appeared in all newspapers that this Tamil Nadu Muslim Munneta Kazhagam has done this tremendous job. But we need to understand, and this is the network that they have created. They are able to clear this road at any point of time. Number 1, how they are able to do it? That is where the question is. In 2013-2014, when we conducted a study on this mobile phone recharge outlets. We worked with one private mobile operator. I asked how many mobile retail outlets are there in Tamil Nadu. He told me that we have around 1.3 odd lakhs. I asked him how many are run by Muslims. He said it is 80,000. So it is a whooping close to 70% or so. So what we need to understand, any common Hindu who is going to a shop, you are going to give your number and he is going to do the recharge. So data of every Hindu is in the hand of a Muslim. And again, you need to understand, in this area, not less than 10 to 15,000 girls have eloped through love jihad in the last 10-15 years. And we have a data on this. And how many, almost every community can say that they have lost a person to love jihad in every place. And this is how they have captured that particular industry. And then again, previously in Tamil Nadu, Muslims were not into the business of driving taxis and autos. Passenger vehicle segment is now almost taken over by them in most of these coastal areas. And this is where the movement of people, and this is where you can, you can do anything. If you are going to attack person and if you are going to get away, this is one sector that you want that. And you go to any major railway station in southern India, you can see a Muslim operating a canteen there. So your railway network is under their hands. So anything regarding connectivity, it is firmly under their hands. And now the habit of Tamil people is also changed. Now even if you go to any Brahmin marriages, I'm not talking about any other community, there will be one vegetable biryani served there. Now biryani has become a part of our cultural food. And if you go to any function, even in temple functions, biryani is served. And if biryani is not served, then it means that the marriage is not properly conducted. So previously in non-vegetarian food, kodi kodambu, that is chicken chicken kodambu, chicken fry, fish fry, and these were the menus in Tamil Nadu before. And now everything is now being changed into biryanis. And most of these biryani shops are run by the Muslims. So the entire the industry, which is the food industry, that is being taken over by them. So the domination in those areas are now firmly in their hands. And properties are purchased. And most of our people are laborers. So the entire Hindu community has become dependent on the Muslims. So the control is now firmly with them. And it is not only in the coastal areas. Some 20 years back, there was an advertisement in our newspaper that was done by one Mustafa Private Limited, a company operating from Singapore. The advertisement says that in the highway from Chennai to Tirunelveli, we want 5,000 square feet of land in every 60 to 80 kilometers interval to construct a mosque and 2 shops. So the mosque is not constructed in a Muslim locality. This is the advertisement. I think the advertisement, I have sent it to you in some other slide, it will be there.
Yeah.
So this is an advertisement that appeared in all the newspapers. So the mosques are constructed in vantage points where those needs to be constructed. And this is how from 60 to 80, it came down to 30. And now it has come down to 15, and in easier now it is slowly coming to 5 to 10 kilometers. So all these things are planned constructions. So the mosque is not constructed for a Muslim settlement. The mosque is constructed for some other purpose, and the Muslim settlement is based around a mosque. So you need to understand, it is a demographic invasion which is happening in the country. And this is something which conveniently our policy planners are ignoring because they don't want to work in the field. And that is an issue that you need to understand. So the 3 major highways which runs from north to south in Tamil Nadu, one is the east coast road that you are talking about. The second is the one which runs from Chennai to Kanyakumari. that is the middle one, and the western one that starts near Bangalore, Hosur, is the border in Tamil Nadu. It runs up to Madurai. From Madurai, it joins the Chennai Kanyakumari road. In these two roads, that is from Bangalore to Kanyakumari and Chennai to Kanyakumari, you can see mosques in every 30-kilometer interval. So all these things were planned and the properties were purchased. Even after giving an advertisement in the paper, the organization that gave advertisement is a business organization in Singapore, and I don't know how an entity, a business entity registered in Singapore, can purchase a land in India defying all foreign regulatory norms. And the same organization is having its business in Pudukkottai in Tamil Nadu. No action is being taken against them. I don't know what the government has done regarding, because our Prime Minister has visited Singapore once or twice after he became the Prime Minister. And we have External Affairs Ministry delegation going every year from here to there and there to here. In how many meetings they have discussed that one organization in your country which is doing this type of activity here, and they have got jihadi links, and jihadi terror is a problem where Singapore also is concerned about. So you have to take action against that particular institution which is doing some activity for this purpose. I don't know what happened in this particular front. I'm really disappointed that the government of India has got not done anything substantial regarding this. That is one thing that we need to understand. And again, the another thing that we need to understand, since you have opened up this ECR trade, we have some mountain passes in the Western Ghats, and only through this mountain passes you can enter from Kerala to Tamil Nadu. And these mountain passes lies in Kanyakumari district, in Tirunelveli. Now it is Tenkasi district, no Tirunelveli. And then you have in Theni district, then you have in Coimbatore, and then you have in Nilgiri districts. The roads which connects this Arabian Sea to Bay of Bengal, and we call this the latitudinal connections. You travel through all these roads, you can see mosques in every 30-kilometer interval. And these things are also purchased in these vantage points, and these are the organizations that they are funded. So while now you look Tamil Nadu from a satellite image, longitudinal and it is latitudinal, a mesh is now created with the mosques dotted everywhere. So in a way, you are meshed. And this is what they have done in Tamil Nadu in the last 20 years. And all this happens, this planned activity, they all started from 1993-94 onwards. And we have evidences to prove this. And when you talk about ECR, one thing I need to mention here, we all know there is one Malappuram there in Kerala, which is a Muslim-dominated area, and that is responsible, and that is the gateway of Islamic insurgency in the Arabian Sea. And this Malappuram district was carved out of some Muslim majority areas in Thrissur district. From the Ernakulam district and from Palakkad district, they have carved out this Malappuram Jilla. And likewise, our honorable, ex-honorable Chief Minister Jayalalitha, she carved out a 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀 taluka in the ECR by taking Muslim-dominated areas, and she has created a taluka by the name 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀. So now she has created a Malappuram in the east. So now when I talk about this mesh, west is connected to east, Malappuram is connected to 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀, and you have supply routes from north to south, east to west. Then the entire state is now, it is like a honeycomb that you can't escape.
Well, very sobering picture, and when I heard this thing first time, I just was very concerned, and I thought the world needs to understand this. Especially Gouthamanji, some of these radicalized thought is also reaching even a country that is supposed to be pretty good in law and order, such as the United States. And Europe is gone. In fact, I can tell you, you have taken the trouble to do this mapping, and it's not like they invented this one place. These people have a certain template, and you have to break the template. You have to completely smash it. Only then this is going to go. Anyway, this is my 2 cents. If you have any questions, please put them up now. Harry IITM wants to know, what is Raw doing? Did they not fail miserably in Toothukudi? Are they not? Are they only eating biryani and waiting for retirement?
The final part, I have to agree, I think. When the Toothukudi episode happened after the Sterlite incident, initially, even a section of our intelligence, I mean, that is the central government intelligence officers, they say it is the mishandling of the state police. They have not brought the element of Naxalism in the entire planning of things. Then we did a report on Thoothukudi, the build-up of this entire Thoothukudi Sterlite agitation, the involvement of church, the involvement of Naxal elements in Thoothukudi. We did a voluminous document by video evidences, by notice evidences, by local interviews and other everything. We went to Delhi, approached the Home Ministry then, and then only the government of India reacted. But it's unfortunate, these organizations, they have to smell it even before that. And even after the things happened, some officers whom I discussed immediately after the incident, they say it is a mishandling of the police, and none of them brought this element of Naxal Christian Jihadi nexus behind this till we come up with the documents on that. And I have to agree with you, sir.
Well, next question, please. Akash wants to know, why is every government interested in appeasing Abrahamic religion even though they do not vote for them?
Sir, it is not only minority appeasement, I can tell you. If the government is taking a stringent stand against any of these activities, how many of the Hindus are willing to come forward to support the government? This is my simple question. When the government is doing a crackdown against this Tablighi Jamaat in the aftermath of COVID, how many Hindus come forward to support it? Just a handful of these guys in Punjab, they scuttled the farm bill. Majority of the farmers union, they wanted the same, they wanted the farm bill to be there. But how many supporting farm unions were up in arms against those guys? Nobody came forward. The government they comes with this, abrogation of Article 370 and then the CAA bill. The Muslims all came out in the streets. How many Hindu organizations came out in the streets? So that you need to understand, this is my my understanding about politics, not only in India, about the geopolitics too. Street power is the lone power which wins. I don't believe in this, this secularism, constitution, democracy. I don't believe in these things. Only one power that wins is the street power. The minorities are able to show that street power. So any government will understand only this power. Unless or otherwise the Hindus are not willing to show this street power, with your voting alone you cannot succeed. And this is what I honestly feel.
Next question from Manjunath Yarwar. Why is the counter narrative and counterattack from Indian intelligence to negate these conversions? What is the counter narrative and counterattack from Indian intelligence to negate these conversions?
Sir, it is a previous answer. First, Hindus need to show that street power, and this is the one thing that can alone be heard in the corridors of power. So, backing that, you can have your intelligentsia and other things. If you don't have street power, no intelligentsia will come forward. Because what happened to Nupur Sharma? She spoke. A couple of people who supported her were killed. Who will come forward? And this is something that we need to understand. So, first, Hindus need to learn how to exercise street power. If you are able to do this, the entire intelligentsia will change. I mean, this is, I'm sorry, I mean, some people here may have some fancy towards intelligentsia. To my understanding, intelligentsia is so intelligent enough to sail with the wind. So, the wind needs to be created in the sea. The sail will be turned by the intelligentsia towards that because they know how to turn the sail according to the wind. And this is not my theory, this is what the communists used to say. I did my engineering in Trivandrum. So some of the communist guys who were working with SFI and DYFI, they used to tell, Gautamji, don't never ever believe this intelligentsia and these intelligent people. They know what is going to happen in the next 20, 30 years. They know how to predict. So they will switch sides accordingly. How we have seen many Hindu patriots after the ascendancy of Modi, we have seen many. And we have not seen them before. When we were fighting against these guys in the 80s and 90s and early 20s. So when you see a person is going to come up in the horizon in the name of Hindutva, we got many intelligentsia speaking Hindutva voice. So basically you need to create the monsoon. We need to be what we can say, Sanskritam, we used to say, we need to become Marudganam. If you become a proper Marudganam, all Bhudaganams will follow us, and this is what I feel.
Thank you very much, Gouthaman ji. And this was a very revelationary talk. And I think people, please, send in your comments. And I'm hoping to bring Sri Gouthaman ji back on more specific, ongoing topics. Certainly, banning PFI, swooping in and getting so many people is a start. But not one PFI incident has been talked in this lecture. Understand this. This is an economic invasion, and there is another one that's going to happen here. This is the other bigger challenge that India has, that wherever the church thinks it is in power, the church and Muslims together are going to take the Hindus out, and then when those two, when they have to fight, the Muslims will take the Christians out. Look at Lebanon, what happened. I'm not saying something from thin air. This is what is India headed, unless India corrects itself. And I completely agree with Gouthaman ji that street power alone is going to make your voice heard. And if you don't do that, then God save India, God save Hindus, God save Sanatana Dharma. Gouthaman ji, thank you very much, sir. And please
God
like,
save
share.
the entire world also. If India is
Yes.
lost, most
Yes.
of the countries are going to lose. That is something that we need to understand.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I have not
Without a
touched
doubt.
upon any of those. I have not touched upon any of those geopolitics around Maldives and other countries, because we have deviated from the topic.
Yes. And this was just to give you a sampling, because something similar is happening in many states, many border states, Punjab, West Bengal, and so on and so forth. The idea here is to Rajasthan, yes,
Rajasthan, Assam, even
yes,
parts of Gujarat. We'll come back in some other program then.
yes. Thank you so much, sir. And we'll be back again. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar.